many of us talked about spaces in which we're recognized as coming with knowledge and that we have value and something to bring to everyone's learning. Also, learning spaces in which we feel validated, and so that could be both through the content of what you're learning and also feel validated in this space through support from fellow learners.
When you're thinking of this metaphor of the student and the instructor or co-learners sitting side by side and looking ahead at what the issue is or what we're learning, instead of looking at each other and facing directly at each other and the instructor saying, here's this issue, here's what we're learning, now process it, but instead sitting side by side and looking ahead into the horizon, or looking at what we're trying to process together rather than a very individualized.
Classrooms that reinforce systematic oppression.
Yeah, so I think that you all raised this in many different instances in your groups, right? Including, that's why I sort of pursued a little bit this thing about what did you mean by assimilation, right? Because it's forcing people into, what's considered the norm, and the norm is not most of us, right? So, and so you need to speak the language, but in more ways than that, right? You have to be culturally appropriate. You have to, be in so many ways. You have to be the norm, or else, you're being taught to feel bad about yourself, and that's not a learning space.
And I think related to that, not only in the treatment of people, but also the learning objectives, that having these prescribed learning objectives doesn't allow for the exploration and challenging of ideas.
Yeah, so it's preset what the content is supposed to be, regardless of who shows up and what their own learning goals are, right? Yeah. And then you also raised something about sort of the methodology, right? So the regurgitation, the repeating, so I've already decided what you should know. And then your job is to sit there and repeat it, memorize it.
I think another thing I was hearing is this almost hyper-individualism in the classroom, where each person's expected to learn by themselves and produce something by themselves, and that's how they're evaluated.
Yes.
And the deterrence of collaboration and just devaluing of people building knowledge together.
I like the being real. So I don't know how, I guess being real is really good. As human beings, we have to be honest with each other, hey, guys, I'm not having a really good day. I'm gonna do my best to teach you this product, but it's, I want you to be patient with me. So would being real, or in that sense, be a good one.
Yeah, I have to say, as a teacher, I was really struck by that. And it's interesting, because in my teaching, I talk a lot about being a parent, and I've had, a lot of students come up to me and say that really means a lot to them, and it helps to humanize me, when I'm up there teaching. I was really struck by the allowing for failure.
Yes.
That was very powerful for me. And then also this piece around allowing for space and time for reflection and emotion. Because oftentimes we think classrooms are for content,
Yes.
right? But then we have emotional responses to things that we're learning, to give that space.
Okay, great, yeah. So let's put that up there, because I think the journey to learning has to do with the freedom to experiment, right? And so if you can't fail, you can't learn.
I feel like a lot of the things we've been talking about, we're almost responding to a pretty low bar of you come into a classroom and you don't feel comfortable, it's competitive, the teacher's a bully. That seems
that's
a pretty low bar, right?
That's really
and I think that a lot of the things that we're talking about as working are really just about being comfortable in the space. And I'm wondering if on top of that for everybody, I'm just thinking for myself, it's really important to achieve that level of comfort and feeling that the material is relevant, but then on top of that, also being challenged. Once you've established that trust and that willingness to be there, also being uncomfortable within a space of comfort is also really important.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And it's hard because you can't jump straight to the discomfort, because that doesn't allow you to grow, but that it's building a space of trust first, and then on top of that, being able to be pushed.
And maybe just to, bring us back to the group norms, because I think this thing about creating a trusting space, we said, we assume that we all come with good intentions. So there's nobody here who's, you know, sort of trying to bully anybody else or to get over on anyone else, you know, so we assume that about each other. And then we say, think creatively, take some risks. And so that's the creation of the comfort and the discomfort, right? Because learning is at those edges where it's like, oh, I don't know about this, or, you know, I don't know, am I gonna share this, right? And once you take that leap to trust the group with hard information, then, you know, you've contributed to the building of